Discovery that has the archaeological and scientific communities abuzz. It's an ancient city belonging to a mysterious culture buried in the jungles in Honduras.
So it takes a laser and you basically map the ground with lasers, and you can get up to 1,000,000 points per second on the ground as this thing's scanning on the ground.
The overgrown jungles of our world are some of the most remote and unexplored places on the planet, but this doesn't mean that they've never been touched by humans. From living leaves to old civilizations that have been lost to time to giant cave systems that hold an entire world on the inside, join us as we tell you about the 15 most mysterious and creepy jungle discoveries that will change your perception of the forests that dot our planet. Number 15. The Eerie Pictures. Recently, some images have surfaced on the internet that are said to hint towards the existence of a hidden civilization that has never been discovered before. According to some people, the images in question are from the time of Percy Harrison Fawcett, a British explorer who had been trying to uncover a lost civilization hidden within the Amazon, which Fawcett had named simply the City of Z. In the first decades of the 20th century, Fawcett had been acclaimed as one of the last of the great amateur archaeologists and cartographers, men who ventured into uncharted territories with little more than a machete, a compass, and an almost divine sense of purpose. Fawcett survived in the jungle for years at a time, without any contact in the outside world, often subsisting for days on a handful of nuts. And he was ambushed by hostile tribesmen, many of whom had never seen a white man before, and he emerged with maps of regions from which no expedition had returned. It's said that these images were captured during one of the expeditions to the dense Amazon forest, but the camera got lost and was discovered years later. This image shows an ape-man hybrid looking straight into the camera, with the head taking the majority of the weight of the body. Other images show some strange creatures, decorated tribal creations, and huge mysterious structures that look more or less like a carved space shuttle. Although much is not known about the origins of the photos, people believe that they represent an ancient civilization that once existed in the dense forest of the Amazon and never came into contact with the modern world. It may or may not be the truth, but these images are surely strange and fascinating. Number 14. The Abandoned Little People's Village. One of the allegedly creepiest places in Connecticut is Little People's Village, tucked away in the woods of Middlebury. A complex of crumbling doll-sized homes and odd structures next to the remains of a stone house is rumored to be the damning legacy of insanity that was brought on by the Little People. One version of the tale has it that a man and his wife, perhaps even a witch, were happily married and living in Middlebury when the wife began seeing miniature fairy beings in the nearby woods. She insisted her husband construct a modest village for these elf-like beings to live in. The village expanded over the years, and with it, the magic gradually gave way to insanity. All that remains today to commemorate the couple's tragic ending is the deserted Smurf-scale town. Another version of the myth has it that a lone man in the stone home was ordered to construct the village by the Little People's voices. According to the legend, the voices eventually drove him insane, to the point that he even took his own life. Many tourists today believe that it's haunted by the small people, or perhaps the ghosts of those who were tormented there, and its powerful fields of negative energy that surround it. Some say that staying there for too long can actually cause you to go insane because you'll begin hearing the Little People's voices as well. If it's true or not, much of the site has either crumbled or is crumbling and has been abandoned since the trolley stopped running when the place was once part of an elaborate trolley line from the amusement park. Number 13. Le Lion. For the past 10 years, an unidentified individual has been doing daily patrols across the Swiss forest. The story of the mysterious individual, who always takes the same path through the woods and up the mountains, has become part of the lore of the area, passed down throughout the generations with hushed whispers and hidden laughter. According to the supposed eyewitnesses, the unidentified individual is described as a tall humanoid figure standing at around 190 centimeters tall. It wears a dark, black or dark gray, boiler suit and covers itself with a greenish camouflage cloak. Most notably, it wears an old gas mask that covers its entire head. Le Lion was first spotted by humans in the late 1990s or the early 2000s, and a local woman said that she was collecting flowers next to the route when she spotted it and was surprised to see her. Some have even speculated that the creature is a mentally sick woman, a giant man, or someone with a skin issue, or even a survivalist amongst other possible identities. The first known photograph of the creature would be taken by an unidentified amateur photographer and then published in a local newspaper in September of 2013. In the wake of the image's virility, the paper would state that the creature's gas mask and cloak had been discovered in the forest, along with a note that was titled Death Certificate and Testament of the Ghost of Moiles, written by Le Lion. According to the note, the creature was aware of the viral photo and was very unhappy with the attention that it brought to the forest. No other sightings of the creature in the forest have been reported ever since. Now, some claim that the person was a local eccentric who had stopped going on dressed walks after realizing that they would be associated with the creature. Unfortunately, the note's wording would cause some to conclude that Le Lion had taken his own life, which was the reason behind the disappearance. Number 12. Dundas Castle. When visiting the remote corners of New York's Catskills region, no one would expect a stone castle to appear rising out of its woodlands. The small hamlet of Roscoe, only about 2 hours away from New York City, has a population that's well under 1,000 people. While the town itself is scenic, flanked on each side by mountains and forests, that would be the only reason that one might have to visit. However, that's only if they would be unaware of Craig-y-Clare Castle, one of the Catskills' most famed and believed to be cursed abandoned locations. Craig-y-Clare is easily recognizable. Its stone towers rise up over the surrounding woodlands, and a somewhat decaying wrought iron gate marks its entrance. It literally looks like a castle that's been picked out of a fairy tale. While its outstanding good looks are a testament to the craftsmanship of the late 1880s, its narrative is anything but stunning. The almost 1,000 acres of land on which the castle is built belong to the well-known New York City architect Bradford L. Gilbert. When Gilbert passed away, the castle's next owner was Ralph Wirtz Dundas, who, upon purchasing the property in 1915, began building onto the original structure to create a fairy tale castle. Sadly, though, he would die as the estate was being completed. Before his wife Josephine and daughter Muriel could move into the house, they both developed mental health issues and were committed to sanitariums. Therefore, no one from the family ever lived in the castle that was built just for them. Because of this, some believe that the property is actually cursed. In recent years, Craig-y-Clare was bought and used as a summer camp and then later a retreat. However, it now remains empty as it begins to decompose, and its former beauty is forgotten as it decays within the forest. Hence why people now refer to the building as the ghost of the American Renaissance. This Gothic, medieval-style castle, sitting on a small mountain at the foot of dense woodlands, has become a source of legend for locals in the surrounding area. With its stone turrets, medical archways, marble floors, and towering steeples, it's easy to believe any story about it, as is the conjuring nature that abandoned places often have over us. Number 11. Mysterious Forest Rings. A strange phenomenon, thousands of large, perfectly round forest rings dot the boreal landscape of northern Ontario. From the air, these mysterious light-colored rings of stunted tree growth are clearly visible, but on the ground, you could walk right through them without ever noticing them. They range in diameter from 30 meters to 2 kilometers, with the average ring measuring about 91 meters across. Over 2,000 of these forest rings have been documented, but scientists estimate the actual number is more than 8,000. What causes these near-perfect circles in the forest? Well, since they've been discovered in aerial photos from about 50 years ago, the rings have baffled biologists, geologists, and foresters, and when investigated, it became clear that they represent rings of stunted tree growth. However, the exact cause of this phenomenon remains controversial, with a wide range of hypotheses. The more popular ones include the idea that the rings lie above methane deposits, mineral deposits, and even diamond-bearing kimberlite pipes, named after the famous diamond mining city of Kimberley in South Africa. Others favor a tree-killing fungus as being responsible, although now disregarded. One extreme hypothesis even suggested multiple meteorite impacts created them. Some explanations also put a UFO or extraterrestrial spin on the phenomenon, but no one knows for sure about the origin of these rings. Although northern Ontario has the highest concentration of forest rings, they can also be found in the Yukon, Quebec, and even as far as Russia and Australia. Number 10. The Rainbow Swamp. Upon first glance, these images that contain a pattern of pink, purple, blue, and yellow blankets on the water's surface, switched on by the sun's rays, don't look like they could be real, but they actually are. The effect is described as a swamp rainbow, or as the photographer who first took the photo called it, the psychedelic swamp. When Brent Rawson posted his girlfriend's photo of a rainbow swamp on Reddit, it would receive more than 120,000 upvotes in a matter of 24 hours. The couple were walking at First Landing State Park in Virginia when they saw the unusual natural phenomenon. First Landing State Park encompasses around 2,888 acres and sits atop ancient sand dunes. It's a combination of bald cypress swamp and maritime forest. The swamp is a wetland area that sits between some dune tops, and it's not connected to any other source of water and is completely fed by rain. According to Jeff Ripple, a former Florida Swamp Walk leader, the rainbow sheens found as a thin film on top of pooled water in swamps and marshes are the result of natural oils released by decaying vegetation or the biological processes of anaerobic bacteria reducing iron in soil. Jeff explained that the water needs to be still for a long period of time in order for the rainbows to appear. The natural oils from cypress trees produce this soap bubble or oil slick appearance on the water's surface, and when sunlight breaks through the trees and hits the oils at just the right angle, a rainbow effect on the water can be seen. This phenomenon is found in different swamps along many Florida trails, but this faded rainbow effect is equally as unique and breathtaking. Number 9. The boiling river of the Amazon. Hidden in the dense jungle of the Peruvian Amazon is a percolating boiling river. The steaming turquoise waters that can reach up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit are guided by ivory-colored stones and guarded by 60-foot walls of lush rainforest and vegetation. Locals believe the river was sacred and that the hot waters held healing powers, and shamans incorporated it into medicines. Andre Russo, a National Geographic young explorer, first heard about it from his Peruvian grandfather, and when he became a geophysicist, he then decided to investigate the river and see if he could find a scientific explanation for the phenomenon. The river is protected by the shaman of a small town located nearby and features a secluded healing center. After getting special permission from the shaman to study the water, Russo was then led by the shaman's apprentice to the almost 4-mile stretch of flowing, scalding water. He, wearing only sandals, carefully hopped between the small white rocks the size of paper to take samples of different areas of the river. He then found that the water averages about 187 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not quite boiling but is still very hot, with steam emanating off of the surface. A body of water the size of the boiling river requires a heat source with a whole lot of energy, yet the closest active volcano is more than 400 miles away, and there are no known magmatic systems in the Amazon jungle. After some investigation and testing different hypotheses, Russo and his research colleagues then believed that a fault-led hydrothermal feature was causing the river to reach such temperatures. The water seeps deep into the earth, heats up underground, and then resurfaces through faults and cracks. This is a very rare phenomenon, and because of this, the Shanai Timpishka, also known as La Bamba, is called the only boiling river in the world. And it's so hot that if someone falls into the river, their skin would be covered in third-degree burns in less than a second. Number 8. Secret World War II Bunker. Most underground shelters from the war have been forgotten or buried. However, a hidden bunker from the Second World War was recently discovered in the outskirts of Scotland. Forestry and Land Scotland made the find in Craigslands Forest, close to Moffat, during routine felling operations. The bunker is only about 7 meters in length and 3 meters in depth, formed by an arch of corrugated iron sheets over a cement floor. Each end features a hatch that can be used to enter or exit. It's said that the bunker would have contained bunk beds, a table, and a cooking stove, and all of the equipment that would be needed, but none of those materials survived. It's thought that some broken timbers found on the floor could be from bed frames. FLS said that due to the rarity and importance of the site, as well as health and safety reasons, the bunker was not open to the public, and its exact location would be kept a secret. The bunker was likely utilized as a base of operations by the Home Guard's Covert Auxiliary Unit. These groups, often known as Churchill's Secret Army, consisted of hardened veterans who were well equipped and eager to battle. Auxiliary units had a nickname of scallywags and were given orders to fight until the death. They were tasked with causing havoc behind enemy lines if the Nazis had ever invaded. The bunker is a remnant of the lost times and will help researchers to discover more about the World War II era. Number 7. Stone Spheres of Costa Rica. Discovered in the 1930s, the stone spheres of Costa Rica, carved by the pre-Columbian people, remain a mystery for scientists up to this day. Las Bolas, as they're called by the locals, would be discovered in the Costa Rican jungle, and most of them are no longer in their initial locations. According to researchers, the spheres were sculpted by human hands around the year 600, with the majority of the spheres dating after 1000 but before the Spanish conquest. Since their discovery, over 300 spherical stones have been documented in a variety of sizes that range from a few centimeters to over 2 meters in diameter. Some of the stones weigh around 16 tons and are made of hard igneous stone called granodiorite. Unfinished stones were never found, and all of them are monolithic. Different theories and legends have been developed in regards to the purpose of the stones. Local legends state that the stones are the result of a potion able to soften the rock, possessed by the native population, or that they came from Atlantis. Many of the stones still contain marks from the tools that were used to shape them, and the smoothness of the surfaces was probably achieved by polishing the finished stones with sand or leather. Scientists have not been able to pin down the exact time when they were made. Estimates state from as early as 200 BCE to as late as the 1500 CE. The most difficult question to answer is why the stones were made and what was their purpose, because nobody knows for sure. However, a few theories have developed. Some believe that they were used as compasses, others think that they align with astronomical phenomena. People also believe that they were used as grave markers or status symbols, marking the property of ancient leaders. Whatever the true purpose of these ancient stones were, the world may never know. Number 6. Ancient City. An ancient city of more than 200 square kilometers has been discovered in Bolivia. Only recently have scientists been able to use LIDAR scanners to uncover the city, which had been cloaked for a millennia by the thick jungle foliage of the Amazon. This would allow them to witness structures such as pyramids, dams, canals, elevated forest islands, and buildings, the placement of which provides clues to the natives' cosmological perspective. The structure was constructed between the years of 500 and 1400 AD by the Kasarab culture, the original inhabitants at the time. They occupied more than 4,000 kilometers of the Amazon rainforest. The German Archaeological Institute in Berlin unearthed the ruins of two major cities, Kotoka and Landvar, and together with 24 smaller sites, 15 of which were new discoveries. The new findings disprove the theory that the Amazon was unpopulated before the arrival of the Spaniards. It's also theorized that there may be actually smaller villages in the scanned area, but they're too small for the scanner to detect. At the same time, the current findings do say a lot about the society that built a developed infrastructure in the region and had a rich social life. LIDAR scanners are powered by laser pulses that point to the ground from aircraft. Scientists are using them to find the remnants of settlements, even in places where dense vegetation prevents them from being seen with the naked eye, and reach them by land. Number 5. The Crooked Forest of Poland. Close to the small town of Grafino in West Pomerania, Poland, is located an unusual forest where each tree is bent at its base. It's been named the Crooked Forest as the pine trees grow from the base with a 90-degree sharp bend and then curve back to grow straight up. Irrespective of their curves, the trees are mostly healthy and can grow up to 50 feet tall. The J-shaped trees have attracted a lot of curious visitors, and several theories have begun to come up to prove why the pine trees are crookedly shaped. One of those theories would suggest that in the 1930s, pines of differing lengths were planted and then flattened by the German tanks when they were young. However, the curvature of the trunks are way too smooth for such destruction, and the tanks would have wiped out the entire forest, not only the young pine grove. Others suggest that heavy snowstorms, gravitational pulls, genetic mutation, even aliens could have altered the shape of these trees. Nobody knows for sure what happened to the pine trees in this strange and eerie forest, and to this date, everything still remains a mystery. Number 4. Humpback Whale. When local fishermen were walking through a mangrove forest in Brazil, they came across something that shouldn't be there: the carcass of a humpback whale. The remains were deposited in such a remote part of the mangrove swamp in the Amazonian Delta that it took 2 trips for wildlife experts to reach the site. The baby whale was likely lost at sea and died of starvation or some other unknown cause, and then was washed up by the tides to the shore at a beach. And whales like this one are common in the South Atlantic as they come to the coast of Brazil to mate, typically spending their winters in Antarctica. And while the exact reason of how this whale ended up so far up the forest remains unknown, the creature did not survive the process. Number 3. 2,000-year-old treasure. A treasure hunter in Romania has unearthed a stash of silver coins from the time of the Roman Empire. After searching the woodlands with a metal detector, a man discovered almost 300 coins in a clay pot that was buried deep in the ground. A 40-year-old treasure hunter by the name of Narcissus Cardus is a history buff who spends his free time digging for artifacts, but in reality, this is actually not his first major finding. He's been a licensed detectorist for almost a year and a half, during which time he has made 3 archaeological finds of significance. 4 tetradagrams, the standard ancient Greek silver coin, were amongst the items that he finally initially uncovered. His second find was of a hoard of ancient coins in the Ernay neighborhood of Muris County, and now he has a plethora of coins from a trove of treasure that he's found in the woodlands. After inspecting the pot full of coins, while making sure not to move it from its current position in the ground, he then contacted the Muris County Museum. According to archaeologists, multiple discoveries have been made in the past years, with hoards consisting of coins and jewelry and more, accumulated over several generations, and have helped them to know more about the history of the area. Number 2. The mysterious stones of Pulcani Forest. There's a charming sense of mysticism that surrounds the enchanting woods of Pulcani Forest, Latvia. Known for its vast trekking paths, visitors need to set aside at least 3 to 4 hours in order to explore the entire forest. This woodland is notable for its peculiar mounds of spherical moss-covered stones that are scattered all throughout the forest floor in seemingly random fashion. Many theories have been proposed to explain why the stones are seemingly in an unnatural shape, but none have been verified. Many psychic healers visit this forest because they believe it to be a powerful location featuring positive energy. It's possible that the ancient pagan rites were performed in this woodland, and that's why it now emits such positive energy for healing. Some even bring offerings to the stones in exchange for healing, and therefore the forest may also be haunted, attracting thrill seekers and fans of mysticism. Either way, the forest does serve as a fresh and unique retreat back into nature, and many have ventured on hiking trails just to bask within it. Number 1. Pony Hinge. Nobody really knows how these old hobby horses got here, but the herd just keeps on growing. On a small slice of wide-open pasture in the town of Lincoln, Massachusetts, broken-down rocking horses, plastic ponies, and other assorted horse toys have been holding court. As if by magic, ponies have been proliferating along this winding country road, resulting in the peculiar Pony Hinge. The plastic and metal horses began arriving anonymously sometime in the year 2010 with the placement of a lone hobby horse along picturesque Old Sudbury Road, about 15 miles west of Boston. How and why the rusty little fellow appeared is a mystery, even to the Lincolnites who have been around a while. One story has the first horse hanging around after a child's short-lived lemonade stand, another that he was left over from a Christmas display. Whatever the real story may be, after the first one appeared, things began to get strange. More horses, hobby horses, rocking horses, and horse figurines even began appearing at the site. They're periodically rearranged, sometimes in a circle, sometimes in rows like racehorses, and at other times they're simply scattered and knocked around as if they've come back from a long night of carousing. The herd has been growing faster as of late, with twice as many horses being put out to pasture as there were a couple of years ago. Oddly though, no one takes them away. The cute little arrangement only continues to morph and grow, much to the delight of the family that owns the land.